All right, so you're trying to figure out what are the differences between the growth strategies and the growth levers. So there's difference, and I want to break it down in this video. I want to keep it super short for you and dive right into it. I took some notes on the iPad here, and the differences are, first off, let's establish what are the three growth levers. That is customer acquisition or new customer, AOV or increasing that average order value, which is the amount somebody buys when they buy from you each time. Usually we want to look at this in net AOV. And then we have order frequency, which is the amount of time somebody who already bought comes back and buys again in a given time period. So if we want to look at this in a 90-day time period and we want to double revenue over the next 90 days, we'd want to see, okay, in 90 days, last 90 days, how many times did somebody buy? Is it one time? Is it 1.2 times, 1.3 times, and so on? And to make sure I really drive this point home, if it's 1.2 order frequency, that means that in the last 90 days, people come back. 20% of our customers come back again. So that's just 1.3 would be 30% and so on. And let's look at customer acquisition versus market expansion. So this is where you're going to analyze the effectiveness of acquiring new customers compared to expanding into new markets. And a lot of times this happens where when we say market expansion, say you're just focused on helping serve chefs and say you make shoes for those chefs. Now, if you want to make shoes for those chefs and then say, we can also use these shoes for nurses, you would say, okay, is it going to be more effective to use these dollars to acquire chefs or acquire nurses? And that's where you really would say, okay, we need to apply this and say, is it better to expand into new markets or focus more on the chefs? And a lot of times I'd say stay focused on the smaller niche because you're going to want to make content for those people, and that's going to take resources as well. Not only is the time and energy cost real as well, I think even more so it's real. It's the switching costs. It's all of the energy, focus, and time and attention of your team that goes into this. So usually I err on, let's focus on customer acquisition for a smaller market. Next is going to be on the increasing AOV versus product diversification. So do you increase the average order value of your existing product, or should you focus on adding new products? Now, sometimes you need to add new products and diversify in order to increase the average order value by doing an upsell or a bundle. But if you already have a product that hits and people love it, a lot of times people want to then add another product to diversify because they're nervous that product's going to not be the thing that always hits. I would say first, let's focus on getting people to buy more of that. If you sell a consumable like coffee and or another CPG brand, usually you want to just focus on adding another one for 5 or 10% off, or even start without the discount. Say, hey, get more so you don't run out. That's usually the move we want to do. So I would say before diversifying, let's focus on doubling down on what's already working. Next is going to be boosting the purchase frequency in the last, say, 90 days versus improving customer retention, which is extending that lifetime value. This one, the reason I focus on boosting purchase frequency in the last 90 days is because improving customer retention or extending that lifetime value and figuring out how we get people to not go away as customers, while it is super important, it takes a long time. And a lot of times, if you're a store doing under $1 million a year on Shopify, you don't have that long time. And so figuring out how do you make these 90-day kind of boundaries and do what you can within those 90 days to improve the amount of times people buy is the move. So that's why I focus on customer acquisition, increasing AOV, boosting purchase frequency, and how they stack up against other strategies. And so if that is interesting to you and you're like, wow, Joe, I never actually thought about it this way, you're going to love the free course that I created. It's basically using these three growth levers, and it's free, and it helps you double your revenue in 90 days and gives you a bunch of templates, playbooks, and a bunch of videos where I walk you through in bite-sized lessons exactly how you can double your revenue in 90 days. This is your first time on my channel. You don't know about the Pinky Promise. The Pinky Promise is that I promise to hold nothing back, and I am trying to help 2025 D2C marketers by the year 2025 positively impact them. And if I did that with you today, let me know in the comments below. Until then, check out this video over here or over here, and I'll see you in that video. All right, double or nothing, fam. Peace.